in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hezbollah, the party of God, trying to engage Israel, vice versa. This is, I don't think it's going to blow up the Iran peace deal. I mean, Iran is always lying, saying they have nothing to do with Hezbollah. Maybe after we pounded them into near oblivion, they have severed their ties. I don't know. I have no idea. It's a totally academic question. I have to trust the handful of Americans, the handful who know this stuff, and they're engaged face to face. They see intelligence and they see things that we can't see. All these people on television, they are guessing at best, most of them from a pretty uninformed perspective. And it's okay. I started the show the other day. Have some faith. Have some faith in Trump. Have some faith in Vance. Have some faith in the people he has chosen to do the bulk of this negotiating. His son-in-law, who I like a lot. You know, it's funny. People say, well, why would you ever? I mean, who is this guy? He's not worked at the State Department. He never worked in government affairs. Actually, he has, number one. And actually, two, he's done something better. He's actually negotiated real world things in his life. Real world. You know, when he was 28 years old, he bought 666 6th Avenue, 666 6th Avenue. It was the first $1 billion real estate deal, I think, in all of history. They bought this building and they turned it around. And I mean, he did that when he was in his 20s. He bought a newspaper when he was in his 20s for about $5 million, which was a bargain. And he turned it around, made it super duper profitable. He was flipping, you know, some people flip houses. When he was in college as a part-time kind of side hustle, he was flipping buildings like commercial properties in Cambridge while he went to Harvard, got top grades at Harvard, and managed to make about $10 million on the side, right? I think I remember once going to college and I heard about a guy who made $30,000 in one summer selling hot dogs at Shea Stadium, and I thought he was the most impressive person I had ever met in my life up until that point. You made $30,000 in 3 months? It was like, it seemed like all the money in the world, and then it also seemed like to me like he had, you know, he was set for life. Hey, here's one thing that Jalen Brunson and I from the Knicks have in common. We both had feuds and problems and public spats with Elmo. You know Elmo? Yeah, I'm Elmo. The iconic Sesame Street character caught flack from Knicks fans earlier this month for posting a video on his official social media account saying Elmo hopes both teams have fun, with 4 basketball emojis referring to the NBA playoffs between San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks. Elmo's fair weather message had amassed 27 million views on X, where fans roasted the funny furry monster for not picking a side and displaying a lack of media literacy. A rotten individual fueled by resentment, ego, and emotional dysfunction, one user wrote. They imitate confidence, manipulation for attention, and drag others into their chaos because misery is the only thing they know how to spread. F you, Elmo. That's a little bit much. The problem I had with Elmo was really Elmo's handler, right? There's an Elmo's handler who turned out to be a super duper weirdo, but I was interviewing him on Good Day New York, and he became quite the wise ass and was like not being cute or cuddly. He was like saying noxious, pointed things. And I had words both with Elmo while he was in character and then his doofus operator, who I believe was arrested for fooling around with kids at a later point. It all went to his head. The success of Elmo went to the operator's head. Hey, the other thing that's kind of percolating, the big reflective pool. What could be wrong with the reflective pool with trying to fix it? That big pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial, between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. So, you know, the thing's been dysfunctional for basically since they installed it, like in 1920. And they were spending billions of dollars trying to fix it. President Trump came in, you know, he has a record with this, and everybody's trying to badmouth what he did, and they are literally making it a federal case. CNN, if you don't mind, go ahead with the, this is the Poolgate, or I guess you could call it Watergate. Go ahead.
Is not clear. You can see all the debris still floating through the water here. Lots of it, and I will point out that algae comes from microscopic spores, so that does not offer any proof that the algae is gone. What's more, that famous blue coating on the bottom, look, right there is some of it, and this is one of the areas that has been passed over some. Same all the way around here. I've walked the rim here over and over again. There are very few places, John, where you can see this famous blue color even at all, let alone in a big expanse of clear, shining water. So right now, John, we don't know if it's the bottom coming up. What we know is that this is CNN, by the way. Blue stuff coming up from near the bottom. Okay. We don't have any other explanation for it.
Thank
John?
you very much. Goodbye,
it's so
guys.
interesting.
Goodbye,
Tom,
guys.
so glad
you're there. So glad you're looking into this. Algae is in the water, and they're trying to say that President Trump messed it up. They're still working on it, by the way. They're still work. They'll fix this thing. It's just like the Woolman Rink. Anybody remember the Woolman Rink all those years ago? And they said, and his arch enemy, Ed Koch, who, by the way, turns out he was gay. But he didn't want anybody to know that he was gay. And I respected that. You know, Ed Koch was a friend of mine. I liked Ed Koch. I never asked him about that. I never asked him about his sexuality. Quite frankly, I kind of respected him for, downplaying it, not making it a big deal. You could arguably say he was in the closet. Could you say that? Well, anyway, the New York Times outed him. They wrote a great big piece, and this is not supposed to happen, a great big expose 10 years after he's dead, that guess what? Ed Koch was gay. Mayor Ed Koch. And they tracked down his boyfriends, and then even then, they couldn't prove it. They couldn't prove it, but it just seemed so base. And what was something that was beneath the New York Times. But now, hey, your sexuality defines you. Your sexuality is the most important thing about you. Is it? Isn't it just a means to keep the species going? And once you take care of that, you find some other interests. I think that's a little bit more healthy. Don't you think? Are we defined by the sexuality? Our sexuality, is it really that important? Gavin Newsom is a dead man walking, folks. A dead man walking. He has gone from Democrat Party favorite for 2028 to it's going to be a miracle if this guy stays out of jail. Now, I have been on this guy's case for a long time because, the book he wrote is a colossal scandal right there because I catch him lying a million times throughout the book. I know I've kind of bored you guys with some of it. I find it so fascinating. It's probably better. I'm writing a big piece. It's going to be ready right around the 4th of July. I need about 2 more weeks on it. But the only thing I'm concerned about is this indictment stuff. He might get indicted, and his wife may get indicted. Couple of things that they did. Looks like she was running a shady nonprofit, and she was profiting from that shady nonprofit. And as for Gavin, well, if she were profiting and their husband and wife, he was profiting. And why would anybody give Gavin Newsom's wife and her phony baloney charity that, get this, tries to destroy gender norms? Gender norms are a bad thing. Like a gender norm would be girls should be wearing dresses and boys should be wearing pants. That's a gender norm. Gender normative. Well, she has a charity that actually fights that full time. I mean, you could probably be arrested right there. Give me a break. That's not a charity. That's a fetish. That's a weirdo thing. Here is Gavin Newsom at the Barack Obama Library opening with his wife, Jennifer, who, oh, by the way, is very attractive. I've always found her very attractive. And they ask her about the situation with the presidential investigation. No, the federal investigation, which was actually initiated by a whistleblower, not Donald Trump, a whistleblower, right? Got to believe the whistleblowers, especially if they're going after Republicans. You put them on the front page of Time magazine. Go ahead.
They're just incredible role models, and their values are American values, and we need to revive those and provide hope to everybody.
We heard from the governor, but we haven't heard from you yet about this investigation. What do you want to say?
I'm just so grateful for this inspiration and leadership. We need more of this.
This is stuff that happens in other countries. That's all I'll say. Happens in other countries.
who wants to go after me, go after me.
It's nice to see both of you. Madam First Lady, it's great to see you. Thank you, Governor. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Katie, I mean, when you look around...
Such a interesting way she said that. Didn't answer the question at all, had nothing to say about it. Kind of like a lawyer might tell you. And she also, her body language was fascinating in that it retreated. She kind of shrank, almost like she wanted to run. And Gavin had very little to say about anything. He'll say, oh, this only happens in other countries. Really? Corruption happens in this country all the time. Carlos, people start phony nonprofits and use them as piggy banks right here in America, right here in New York, right here in Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island. Happens everywhere. And you think no. You're in trouble, pal. New York One can't stop talking about the Juneteenth events all across the city. I will not go to one of them. I'm not even going to. If anybody can tell me what it is, you're welcome to brag about it. Not one person I know knows what it is, and no one's been able to explain it to me. You want to hear my funny walk through New York City trying to find out what the hell it meant? If you don't mind, cut one, please. Cut one. Greg Kelly asking what Juneteenth is of our fellow New Yorkers.
What is Juneteenth?
What is Juneteenth? You know what Juneteenth is.
I don't know. You got
No idea?
No idea.
Is that is a celebration of I don't want this to be wrong, so I don't want it to be on the news.
It's the celebration of, now don't ask me what state, where they took the state and they actually messed up the homes of all the blacks that lived there. They ruined it, and then now it's celebrated as Juneteenth.
I think basically it's a time for like little kids come together or something like that.
I mean, it's a long story. I know really what happened, but it was a Wall Street for the blacks. I think so.
For some reason, it's recognized as a holiday that there was a gap between when the people knew they were freed in, I believe, Texas, and they didn't learn until June 19th. So there was a period of time they're actually freed and didn't know it.
I think you might be right, but I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
All right.
But to me, it's a bizarre holiday because it's basically celebrating not knowing you're free.
Great point, Chief. Great point. Even though he just described it and what it is, I still don't know what it is. I can't comprehend anything about it. So DNI Gabbard is no longer the DNI. Director of National Intelligence Gabbard has officially left the job. Director of National Intelligence, coordinating all intelligence activities of the United States of America. Bill Pulte is the interim, very sharp guy from the business world, and that's great. That's a deep state trick to keep only intelligence professionals in these jobs. You can be a smart American citizen with integrity and totally do that job. But DNI Gabbard had something to say on her way out the door. She put together a pretty, this is a lengthy video. Let's start it if you don't mind. I'm going to go back to what Roger Stone said about her. Roger Stone is the one who really told me, hey, she's got amazing political talent. And then I started to really look. I'm like, yeah, he's right. She does. And I think she will be president someday. A lot of people actually think that, but not in 28. We know that. You ready? DNI Gabbard, her final statement before leaving office.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research.
That part about IC assessments, intelligence community assessments. She's got the goods. She's got the documents. More when we come back. Thank you very much, DNI Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, on her way back to Hawaii, but she will be back in Washington at the highest possible level. 800-8489-222, 800-8489-222. Phil, on this Friday, the phone lines are officially open.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, enough about what I think. What do you think of what I think? Let's see here. Kathleen, how are you?
Oh, good. Long time no talk to. I just wanted to clear something up.
What?
I used to always go see Clarence Clemens over at the Stone Pony, and nobody pulled out an N-word. You know what they pulled out? A pen and a camera.
Huh. Yeah.
You know, it's such baloney. You wonder what he would think about Juneteenth if he was still with us.
He probably wouldn't know what it is either. You know, nobody knows. What a horrible thing they said about him. I mean, that they said about us, the fans, you know, because I did like Clarence in that single. Great point, Kathleen. Great point. Allison, hello.
Hello, Greg. A couple of things. First of all, I want to wish you a happy Father's Day. You're a great dad. I love the interaction between you and your daughter. And fathers are so important. I spoke to you several weeks ago about my dad who regretted not being called into the service in the Second World War.
Ah, yeah.
Yes, I'm the former Pan Am flight attendant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I did. I owe you something.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I also want to tell you how much I enjoy hearing about your experiences in the air. It gets in your blood, and I understand it. And another shameless plug, if I could. Do you know Pan Am has a museum?
The one in the Aviation Museum on Long Island?
In Garden City.
Yeah.
On Charles Lindbergh Boulevard. I hope it's all right if I gave a shameless plug. But you are great.
No, thank you. And I love Pan Am paraphernalia. And you are great. Keep in touch because I know I owe you something and I can't remember where it was. It's going to come back to me. Allison, thank you. Pan Am, Pan American Airlines. Back when we dressed up to go flying.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, a lot of us have known about Dr. Fauci for a long time, and we were penalized for it. We were penalized, shadow banned, and worse when we speculated, and you're allowed to speculate in America. You're allowed to collect data, information, and you're allowed to guess, and some of us were doing that the COVID came from a weapons facility, weapons bio facility, the Wuhan lab in China. And that was branded a conspiracy theory. Oh, gosh. And that was dangerous. Well, we now know that's true, right? But even, I couldn't believe it in America. You know, this whole thing, well, no. You can only say facts on the internet. Well, who determines what the facts are? Yeah, unfortunately, it was the government and or big tech told to do so by the government. Total violation of First Amendment. It's a dark nightmare that we went through. And I don't know if we'll ever have accountability when it comes to Fauci because he was granted a great big fat pardon on the way out the door by Joe Biden. People forget about that, but he was one of the handful of people who got a pardon. By the handful, I mean, you know, the tight, close associates of Joe Biden, his brother, his sister, his other brother, Hunter, his sister-in-law. Let's see, who else got one? General Milley, Anthony Fauci. And when you accept a pardon in these circumstances, it's an acknowledgement of guilt. It's a total acknowledgement of guilt. All right, so do me a favor. Let's resume Tulsi Gabbard's parting statement on our way out the door about who could be, and it may turn out that Fauci was the worst mass murderer in history. Go ahead.
About viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins. Once again, revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume 3 key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to Big Pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit, and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. Now, we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not. The message was clear: go along or be punished. Now, senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. And after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth.
Wow. Thank you, Tulsi Gabbard. So the truth is emerging, going through these documents and reviewing testimony by Dr. Fauci, where he misleads the American people, where he lies to Congress. I never heard this before. Somebody taped Fauci, I guess, on a conference call. You'll hear a congressman. This is Fauci on Capitol Hill, 2022 or so. Go ahead and hit that, please. The congressional testimony of Fauci. Bear in mind, there might be some vulgarity in this coming from Fauci himself. Hit it.
Why would I be criticized by a bureaucrat for doing my very best as a healthcare. This is a rhetorical question. But why? Why would the government, who's never treated a patient for COVID, you can read all the things you want, but you're not there. You're not seeing patients. You're not watching people die, intubating patients right there with that disease in your face, watching it happen, watching the development of this disease and actually learning from it. But I'm being told by bureaucrats what's right and wrong. And what's funny is everything I was censored on, I was proven to be right. Pretty crazy, isn't it? You said in an interview that you gave as part of an audiobook written by Michael Specter that you believed an institutional should make it hard for people to live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and that's not what I was referring to.
Well, in reference to making it hard for people to get education, traveling, working, I'd say it very much was in context. And I take great offense to this. Miss Allison Williams testified before this committee about losing her job because she sought an exemption for ESPN's vaccine mandate, which came from recommendations from bureaucrats like yourself. She and her husband were actively working with a fertility expert, a physician, on how to get pregnant, and agreed with the premise that she was young, healthy, wanted to get pregnant, and shouldn't get the vaccination for medical purposes. But she was fired because you made it hard, just like you said in your statement, because you didn't want to make sure that the ideological got in the way of her working, of living her life, of making a medical decision with her healthcare professional. I think America should take great offense to this. That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live without getting a vaccination. You affected people's ability to work, travel, be educated, to actually flourish in American society, to self-determine, as we're all given God-given rights. Shame on you. Dr. Fauci, you've become Dr. Fear. Americans do not hate science. I don't hate science. The American people hate having their freedoms taken from them. You inspired and created fear through mass mandates, school closures, vaccine mandates that have destroyed the American people's trust in our public health institutions. This fear you created will continue to have ripple effects over generations to come. You have already seen its effects in education, in the economy, and everything else. Quite frankly, you said, if you disagree with me, you disagree with science. Dr. Fauci, I disagree with you because I disagree with fear. And with that, I yield.
Wow. That was awesome. That was awesome. You know, in the middle of this damn thing, there was a documentary made about him, glorifying him, just called Fauci. He had cameras in his vehicle. Most of it was just about, oh, look at all these bodyguards I have to have because of all those MAGA freaks. You know, that's always the message. When you enhance security, oh, MAGA, we're worried about MAGA. MAGA may do something. How about that? It's also a scientific fact that if you tell an entire country, if you make it mandatory for them to do anything, like something harmless, like take an aspirin, some people are going to die. How about if you made it mandatory for everybody to eat a peanut, right? You could say the science says, well, the science also says people are going to die, period. People did not want to take that vaccine. They had every right to not take it. Experimental, brand new. You cut a million different corners. Listen to the arrogance in that phone call. Your ideological BS. You know, when it comes to medicine, America's the land of the second opinion. I learned that on Marcus Welby. Anybody remember that Marcus Welby show? Dr. Marcus Welby, great guy. He was the same guy from Fathers Knows Best. Same dad, same dude. What's another good doctor show? They're always getting second opinions. You ever see that movie, The Fugitive? Remember when, he escapes from the train? He's a doctor. And he's trying to solve his wife's murder. And he's hanging around the hospital because he's trying to find the one-legged man, one-armed man. And he just happens across that medical chart. And Harrison Ford figured out that the doctor missed the key diagnosis, the key thing that was wrong with the guy. And a nurse busted him for it. He was right, but the nurse was angry. And that nurse was Juliette Moore, of all people. An amazing redheaded actress. Oh, Fauci, you deserve this. You deserve this bad. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222 on this Juneteenth, they tell me.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, back 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Has anybody checked in on Mark Levin? How's he handling this MOU? I know he really was upset earlier this week. I love Mark Levin. Disagree with him about the MOU. I usually catch up with his show actually on Saturdays. I like to review the Weekend Review. Mark Levin, great stuff, but I think he's wrong on this Iran deal. You know, I went back and I found out that this Iran kind of framework is very similar to the framework where we got the hostages back, a framework that Ronald Reagan helped implement. All the same things. We get the hostages back. We unfroze assets. We promised not to mess around in their internal affairs. But you got to throw this in. Back then, we didn't slap him in the face and breast, chest, neck, and head with bombs, right? So, I mean, we punish them, and now they know that we can punish them again bad. Yes, Wendy, hello.
Hamas still has... Hi. Well, Hamas still has their weapons, don't they?
I don't know, to be honest. I honestly don't know.
Okay, one quick question about Dr. Fauci. Fox News aired a video back in the Tucker Carlson days before COVID ever was a thing, where Dr. Fauci said gain-of-function research was worth the risk. How come no reporters ever asked him that again? He knew what was going on.
Well, you say no reporter. Wait, well, I mean, hold on a second. I mean, yes, I'm with you, but the guy's been in, hiding. You know, the guy's been, when's the last time you saw him on the news? You know, I don't know. You know, there are certain things. He has testified a lot. I know the thing you're talking about. He argues that it was taken out of context. And I have seen the whole thing. Look, he's a bad dude. I'm not defending him. But that whole thing about worth the risk of, it wasn't, I forgot. I'd like to look at it myself. Hey, Tucker was great. But sometimes, just sometimes, Wendy, context and perspective are missing from media. Have you ever noticed that?
Okay. So let's move on to the Juneteenth holiday. Everyone knows now, why it came about. Knows what the holiday, why it's celebrated. But the reason why it came about was when Trump was president. I think he had some kind of meeting or something going on.
Yeah. Can I host the show for a second, Wendy? Can I host the show for a second? Yes. He had a rally scheduled for Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is the site of the Black Wall Street thing. And it happened to be on Juneteenth. Right? So they blew it up. So to disrupt that rally, they made a big thing out of Juneteenth to embarrass Trump and pretend it's a big deal. Barack Obama never commemorated Juneteenth. Never. Not once. Maybe a White House official statement. But yes, that's why it blew up. Go back and get the context and perspective. It's always important. It's always important to have that. Fauci is a bad guy, but that gain of function, the risk thing, has been taken out of context. I will be revisiting that tonight. Thank you very much. Sharon, hello.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good.
You sound a little bit... what's your quick question?
I haven't been able to figure out. The blanket pardons, the presidential pardons, with Fauci and all the Bidens and everything... The exact wording of the presidential pardon, does it say that it has to be like charged with a crime and convicted, or like how is this able to happen? That you can just have a pardon. What if somebody, going drastic? What if somebody murdered something and they didn't know they murdered somebody and they've just been pardoned for a blanket thing that they have no idea why?
Well, you could be murder is somebody could prosecute you at the state level for a murder. The pardon basically says so-and-so has an absolute and total pardon for any offenses committed against the United States from such and such date to such and such date. All right. And it's kind of a blanket pardon, and it's all encompassing. And it means that Fauci, in all likelihood, will not be able to go to jail. However, you can get creative with the state, right, at the state level. But the pardon is a pretty powerful thing. They try to look at the auto pen. And the auto pen doesn't undermine or doesn't negate these pardons. And I don't know if the Fauci pardon, but it is something. It says for any and all offenses, potential offenses against the United States, full and complete pardon. It's pretty wild, isn't it? The power of a pardon.
That is nuts.
It is kind of nuts. But then again, you know what? Sometimes I like pardons, right? I liked it for the January 6ers. Hey, I even liked it for Richard Nixon. Hey, thank you very much. What is it, Frank?
Hey, Greg, I hope you're having a great holiday here. I hope you're getting paid double on this holiday. I know I'm not. But, you're on fire today with the Fauci thing. Keep on keeping on here. You're doing a great job. I just want to point out something about VAERS, and I'm sure you're aware of it.
I got a note here that you wanted to say something about Jared Kushner. What do you want to say about him?
I know, but you said so much good stuff.
I want to know about the Jared Kushner thing.
Well, I'm sure you know about it because you know everything about everything here. Albania. I'm hearing the
You being a Weisenheimer? Are you being a Weisenheimer? Frank, I get a know-it-all vibe from you, to be honest. What about Albania?
All right, so in Albania, apparently Kushner's trying to buy this island. It's a natural preserve that's protected for the people of Albania, and apparently they're going to be building a huge high-end resort on it.
Good for him.
The people of Albania are pushing back. Well, I just wanted to hear if you heard anything about it.
I heard something about Albania. I heard something about Mayor Adams in Albania. I got bigger problems. I can't worry about it. I will say this about Jared Kushner. He was an international businessman decades, literally as a teenager, way before he ever met President Trump, before he became his son-in-law. The guy was wheeling and dealing all over the world. And if he wants to buy an island in Albania, I'm imagining, Frank, somebody wants to sell it to him, right? Like maybe Albania. I mean, there's always pushback. There's always controversy. If this thing were such a great island, I don't know. I mean, are people really going to it? There are all kinds of natural preserves and parks that nobody ever looks at, right?
I hear you. I'm not sure if you know, but Kushner's father had spent some time in prison.
I know all about that story. And there's resentment to this day between Chris Christie and the Kushners. I mean, quite frankly, they could have just stepped in and said, hey, come on, pal, lighten up. I know about the video and the sex and all that stuff. I'm not going to blame Jared for that stuff. What did your old man ever do, Frank? You know what I mean?
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?